in that process, unknowingly, I began to I began to love this sin. I began to enjoy the feeling. I began to enjoy how what it did for me. You find yourself intertwined between wickedness and weakness. And I believe in that part of my story, that's when the lines kind of get blurry. The enemy groomed me with this, and he put it on me. He placed it in front of me and got me to reach out for it because he knew that I would probably be weak in that area because of all the things that was happening in my family. He knew he had my dad with it. He knew he got my mom with it. He knew he knew lust ran in my family, from my grandparents to my cousins, my aunts, um, just everyone, most people in my family. Um, so of course he came after me and I bit the fruit. I mourned for little me, not knowing, not being set down early enough, not to have the talk, but to have the talk specifically about porn. All right. What's good, y'all? This is Curtis Phillips. I'm your host of the Male to Man podcast. It's going to be a solo episode today because I just need to talk to y'all and I don't want too many people to hear what I'm about to say. In this episode, I'm probably going to be more vulnerable than I've ever been with anybody outside of maybe my wife. So tune in. Let me know what you think. So I got my journal with me today because I need it. It's going to help me stay on topic and help me gather my thoughts. I'm nervous doing this, but we here. My first time watching porn was at my cousin's house. Satan had always tempted me with this sexual content. It was like he was grooming me for this struggle, this addiction. We had a DVD probably from my aunt's boyfriend that my cousin encouraged me to watch, and I did. And since then, I've been in a toxic relationship with this internet prostitute. Um, Porn came into my life very early. The first time I actually watched it, I was very young, around 13 years old. I watched it full one. I actually have probably a handful of other stories where I came in contact with it, whether it be a magazine, nude pictures on my dad's phone that he would put as his screensaver that I would end up seeing. Uh, I would go over one of my good friend's house and he had some upstairs. His dad had Playboys and, we would go snooping in the drawers and find things that we weren't supposed to find. And his two young boys, was just looking for trouble and fun, a little bit of excitement, a little bit of excitement of the things that we probably, no, we shouldn't have been looking at or looking for. Definitely too much for our young minds and definitely too much for me. Um, this sin, this struggle has been in my family for generations. I remember going home and having like just a coming together of the family, a renewal, a prayer, bringing the family back together. We had been having a lot of infighting and it was good. We talked a lot and what came out of it was, you know, my aunt, kind of like she's basically like my grandma. Um, she honestly probably introduced my dad to porn. And from there, I remember being little, spending time in my dad's house, and he would go get something to eat or be coming back from work. I'd be at home by myself for a little bit playing a game. And it was kinda like Satan would whisper to me. And so I went into his closet and I found a suitcase. And I still remember how this suitcase looked to this day. It's this green, kinda like carpet designed suitcase, had a double zipper, will open from both sides, and it was filled with porn, like all kinds of DVDs, like I mean hundreds. It was hundreds of them, a full suitcase. And my curiosity peaked from there. I had to be nothing but, 7, 8 years old, all the way up to like 10. And, he had that suitcase for years. Man, I remember one day he actually is catching me, and it's something that my dad was obviously into. So I kind of got a slap on the wrist, really. But I think it was there that I learned that it wasn't so bad. And that stuck with me. My first time actually adding of the other element to it. You guys can kind of infer on what I'm talking about. That story that I told in the beginning, my cousin. And from there, and just kind of took off. It became a regular part of my life, honestly. Um, like it began to take things from me I didn't even know it was taking. My confidence, courage, uh, swag, and I say swag per se. It gave me shame. It made me sneak. It made me look a type of way in my mom's eyes. She being a single mother, she couldn't understand why her son was doing this so much. I remember her asking me one day, I understand to do it, but when you do it too much, what's wrong with you? So it started to make me feel like wrong, It started to make me feel less than. Shame became a part of my personality, became a part of who I was. It was just something I did. It was something everybody did. From my cousin to my dad to folks in my family to the folks at school. It's like everybody did it. So it wasn't necessarily an issue. It was just a part of life. But I still knew that it was wrong. I began to rely on it subconsciously for emotional support. Um, when I would be sad, I remember I had had a girlfriend in high school that we ended up not working out. Um, we got, you know, we were together and we couldn't see each other because I couldn't see her like I wanted to. We ended up, I ended up breaking up with her because I felt like I don't know why I felt like, but I felt like she was cheating. So after that, I went and did my thing, messed with other girls, got back to her. So now we had kind of no relationship, but we ended up kind of rekindling a little bit. And I guess she was out for revenge. So she made me pay for it. Long story short, that heartbreak introduced, I think, a different level of the struggle with me, pornography. I started to, I think, use it more frequently and really lean into that dependence, that codependence. Now, I mean, then again, I was a kid, so being young and horny and not having, you know, a girlfriend or a consistent partner to fulfill that need, not understanding how to surrender it and give it to God. And then again, I mean, this is something I did by myself in my bedroom. Was God even watching? Did he really care that much? Because nobody around me really did. It stunted my development and my emotions. It made me, because I would use it for emotional support, I believe, I began to run to that and get that dopamine hit when I was sad. So I would never actually fully acknowledge that I was sad. I would do that. I would avoid it, um, or hurting, or in pain. When I was in pain, I always had I always had it there with me. It didn't judge me, it didn't make me feel no type of way. Um, and I had full control. It led me into being more controlling because I could access it at any time I wanted to, especially when I got a phone. I didn't, after a while, I didn't have to hide it anymore. I think my mom just kind of accepted it. My dad understood it as a guy, and it was something that I was just living with. It was what it was. Um, and I think in that process, I think in that process, unknowingly, I began to I began to love this sin. I began to enjoy the feeling. I began to enjoy how what it did for me. It was a pick me up. And I think from there, you find yourself intertwined between wickedness and weakness. And I believe in that part of my story, that's when the lines kind of get blurry. Um, and I think without knowing it, you begin to worship it. It begins to become a part of, like I said, who you are. Um, you need it. You never really imagine not having it because you don't know of any negative things that it brings to your life. You don't know why you are more afraid to talk to girls or very afraid of rejection, or you don't have the confidence in the game to take that shot or be who you are or act goofy or just be yourself, how you are with your family or how you are in your room. Well, you have this shadow monster on your back that you're dealing with that nobody really knows about. And a lot of people actually deal with it. I think we have to be very watchful, especially of the youth growing up. For the parents out there, um, this is something that the enemy will place in front of me, from my dad to, there's even a situation with my mom where I was, at home, she was gone. It always happens when the parents are gone. And I found a DVD under her TV. And I think she knew I found it too. She never really addressed me about it. But I would kick my brother and sister out of her room and watch it. I was just watching it. I was just curious. And I think I built up just lustful, negative curiosity as a kid, and it just became part of me. And the enemy groomed me with this, and he put it on me. He placed it in front of me and got me to reach out for it because he knew that I would probably be weak in that area because of all the things that was happening in my family. He knew he had my dad with it. He knew he got my mom with it. He knew he knew lust ran in my family, from my grandparents to my cousins, my aunts, um, just everyone, most people in my family. Um, so of course he came after me and I bit the fruit. But I think I mourn for the young kid I mourn for little me, not knowing, not being set down early enough, not to have the talk, but to have the talk specifically about porn. My parents just didn't have the education, you know, on it. And I'm not so sure at that period with all the things they had dealing with little kids and financial issues and, going back and forth, this and that. Well, in the middle of the housing crisis of '08, if they really understood the impact that it was having in our household. Kendrick Lamar got a song and he says, "Wickedness or weakness, you decide. Are we going to live or are we going to die?" And I think about that with this podcast and with this particular sin because the shame will tell you that it's you. The shame will tell you that you are the bad guy. You are evil. It won't remind you of all the times that this was advertised to you. It won't remind you of the pain that you might not have known how to deal with that without the proper guidance led you here. It won't remind you that you only a human, and a lot of us were in our adolescence. But I think as a grown man and on the journey to get married is something that I knew that I needed to let go of. And I've had victories and defeats. And I'm proud to say currently I am sober. Uh, I have not partook and I've lost count of days, but it's been some months. Um, and this is the first time I've done that. But people will tell you different things to help you. I can't speak on that. I know for me, it was prayer. People will tell me, of course, pray. People will tell me, go to, accountability group. People will tell me, boundaries and blockers. And I tried pretty much all of those. But honestly, nothing fully worked for me, especially when I would be disappointed. One of my biggest triggers is disappointment and heartbreak, pain. My mind naturally wants to run from the pain instead of allowing God to be with me in that pain and take that pain away. I take matters into my own hands in the worst ways. But what truly worked for me out of all these things was an accountability partner, specifically my wife. It wasn't until I started dating her and I was honest with her I was like, "Hey, I'm struggling with this and this is what it is." What I didn't understand, I was just being honest so that she wouldn't be surprised. I didn't understand the effect it would have on her, even though she knew. And for a while, we didn't have any issues with it. But the deeper we got into our relationship, the more I seen how it affected her. The more God started to reveal to me how it was affecting my life, how the enemy was using it as a door into my life to be able to cause all types of hell in my relationship, hell in my finances, hell on my job, in my confidence, in my profession, um, in my destiny. And the more we dated, and I would let her know, and I see the disappointment on her face. Like even before I would fall, I would think about that. Now sometimes it was just too strong. I was hurting, or I just deal with the weakness. And sometimes the wickedness, maybe I just was fell into the curiosity part of it. But she that reaction, making it, fellas, we have to take it from just being something that I do selfishly to open up your eyes to how it affects the people around you, because it does. From the people that you are supposed to speak to the people that you are called to love. It causes you to be more angry, more short with the ones you love the most, right? It causes brain fog, you know, uh so so much more. Again, lack of confidence. When you're carrying around shame, you're carrying around that burdens. It takes you away from your purpose. So it's affecting everybody around you through you without you even knowing it, because you feel like you're doing it behind closed doors, and it's something that I'm dealing with. But in reality, the people that you love are taking up, are you're bleeding on them and you don't even know it. Sorry, I keep going to the journal. Just a tough one for me. In order to beat this thing, it's gonna take some courage, it's gonna take understanding, and it's gonna take for you to find what works for you. An accountability partner that made it real for me work for me. I'm able to overcome because of my love for her. That doesn't mean I'm not gonna slip up. That doesn't mean I won't slip up again. That doesn't mean I won't have my struggles. Doesn't mean I won't be tempted. Because I believe we're always gonna be tempted, but we are given the strength to overcome. And I think God's love as well. Through this whole journey, He didn't judge me for what I was doing. He did not see me for reality what I was. He saw me for who He created me to be. I remember I had a friend, and she prophesied to me, you know, just about how God was still loving me, how God was still working on the inside, working with me through my journey with this to heal me. And that I was being healed. Even when I was in the thick of that struggle, even when I was in the thick of that weakness, God was working. And I think we have to understand that God loves us not like how we love each other. He doesn't love you really with conditions. He loves you conditionless. And that's something I don't think man experience enough, is being loved without conditions. But when we go to God, when we allow God to express to us and we to feel the Father's love, we understand that His love can conquer. The Bible says that love conquers a multitude of sins. Greater is He that is in me, and so God would send me these messages, and through the Word, through prophecy, allow me to understand that even though I'm still struggling, He wanted me to keep going. He didn't want me to quit. And he didn't want me to just bow down to this thing, to make it an idol, because that's what it becomes. Pornography becomes your idol, especially when you lean on it for things that you are supposed to be going to God with. Moments that you're supposed to be sharing with only your wife, you're sharing here with yourself in a screen. He hasn't forsaken you in this process. He's actually with you. Now he's going to hold you accountable because he held me accountable, right? He's not going to stop when the enemy has a legal right into your life and you wondering why as men, we don't like providing. I don't care what nobody say. Providing is a part of us, you know, having clarity on our purpose. We need that. And I believe we need it more than women because we are designed to lead. We are designed to set the tone. We are designed to hold the home together, right? So if porn is stealing away your clarity, if it's messing up your money and conversely messing up your confidence, if it's changing the way you see yourself, your identity, and it's giving you identity of shame, how can you show up in the world as the warrior you're meant to be when you're carrying shame on your back and you don't feel you feel like a fraud. You don't feel like you deserve what God is trying to bless you with. You don't feel like you deserve what he's already given you. You see, porn, it takes everything from you silently. It's not loud like other sins. You can see drinking, right? You can see somebody, well, most of the time, you can see the gambling addiction. You can see when somebody has an issue with weed. But porn, a lot of times not a lot of times, you cannot see the depraved mind. So fellas, like we need to lose this weight. I remember going to the send and it being prophesied to me that I had all these weights on me. I was carrying it through a rough wilderness and just how exhausting it was for me. And this weight was the weight of the weight of shame that I had for what I was doing. Because even though when you come to God, you realize like cannot split loyalties as hard as it is. And you find yourself convicted a lot because this is something else that I enjoy, but I know God does not agree. So does God look at me and then you start to hear Satan whisper in your ear, oh yeah, he's angry at you. He's disgusted with you. He doesn't love you. You're going to hell. I mean, I'm from the South. Somebody tell you going to hell quick and you don't deserve, you got to be perfect. Porn makes you feel like you have to be perfect before you come to God. When God is already on the inside of you. He's going through the emotions. That's the wicked part of it. He's going through the emotions with you. As you're lusting, he's on the inside of you feeling that lust. As you are falling, he's on the inside of you feeling that. Though he's giving you the wisdom, the courage, and his spirit, he's going through it with you. That's how connected he is to us as his children. The further we get from God, the further we slide into wickedness. After you get done, you don't want to do anything. You want to sit in that dark room. You don't want to pray. You don't want to talk to God. You don't want to eat. It's just disgusting. My fellas, like y'all know how it feels when you get done. You know how it feels. You throw that phone. You're like, man, it is what it is. It's not worth it. your brain can finally process that it was never worth it. But it only lasts a short amount of time before the enemy, the hijacker, comes back into your mind and tells you you want it again. And that hijacker dwells into your mind until the more times you're able to tell him no. So a lot of us, it is a weakness problem. It is a demon problem, but mostly it's a discipline problem. We have to allow God to help us in that problem. And we got to recognize that a lot of the stuff that's happening in our lives is happening because of this secret thing that we haven't given over yet, that we might not want to give over. But I'm encouraging you all today, release it, release it. It's not worth it. The good thing about God is he will restore all that's lost. I think is it Joel 2:2? You know, he will restore the forgotten years that the cankerworm has eaten. Everything that porn and the enemy try to take from you through porn, God will return it, right? The relationships, the confidence, the courage, right? He'll take that shame away and give you the peace. He will show you the fire and the strength that you have on the inside of you, right? The warrior that you're called to be, he'll show you that, right? And it doesn't have to be all in one time. Don't let folks trick you and tell you that you're not good enough because you have a struggle, because you have a weakness, which you must admit and take it to God. Don't let folks tell you that you're going to hell. Don't let the enemy tell you that you're going to hell for this. My brother, you are saved. But just like any relationship, you really want to hurt your partner over and over and over again. The person that you say you love, he's going to heal the heartbreak that's causing you to use the drugs. It's causing you to have a sex addiction. It's causing the gambling, the addiction, and the causing of porn. Um, I don't know if this helped anybody. I don't even know if I should be saying it, but it's so common nowadays in our youth. You know, kids are finding this monster at 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and it's staying with them until they die, essentially. 40, 50 years old, 60 years old, still struggling. I've lived with this I've been on this earth with this weakness, with this struggle, with this sin for longer than I wasn't. And 2026 on, it's not coming with me anymore. So I'm renouncing pornography. I'm renouncing the lust, and I'm renouncing all the symptoms, the heartbreak. I'm not renouncing those things, but I'm asking God to heal those things inside of me. I want to get to the roots of it for that true healing. And I just imagine being a child again, a kid again, and just in the Father's arms, being embraced by a warm hug. And I don't care how that makes me look. Care if y'all say I'm corny or weak. We all want that intimate hug from the Father, no matter how strong of a man you are, no matter how independent of a woman you are. We all need that time, that quiet time, that embrace. We all need for God to tell us that we are enough. He still loves us. He still got us. We still the apple of his eye. I hope this helps somebody. That's going to be the end with us today. Again, if you want to connect with me, You can hit me up on IG. I am Curtis Phillips. On TikTok at the Mail to Man podcast. And of course, like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts. There's more to come, but today, choose ye this day whom you shall serve. Signing off. Thank you. All right, you can hit end. Ooh.